Okay, welcome everybody to the Jupiter and Cancer Masterclass. So Jupiter is the planet of growth and abundance. He's usually considered a very lucky, benevolent planet that brings good things into our lives. But the thing with Jupiter, he's all about growth and expansion. So that's what he does best is he takes whatever's going on, whatever sign of the zodiac he's in at any time, and he grows and expands on that energy. So Jupiter stays in a sign of the zodiac for around about 12 months. So when he moves into Cancer on the 10th of June, he'll be there until the 30th of June 2026. So it's just over 12 months usually his transit through a sign of the zodiac. So he moves quite fast compared to some of the other outer planets because Jupiter is considered to be an outer planet because he's miles away. But the big outer planets, usually they move very slowly, but Jupiter would be one of the faster moving ones. So, it's still a year of change, unlike the moon that changes signs every 2.5 to 3 days. It's still a whole year of change that we're going through. And so, we've got to be aware of how to treat this and what to do with it. So Jupiter's been in Gemini for the last year. And so what we've noticed over the last year, it's been a very, very busy time. I mean, we're in busy times anyway, but it's been super busy because if you imagine Gemini energy is the energy of the person that's always busy anyway and always juggling lots of balls, always very curious, always on the move, that sort of energy. So Jupiter expands on everything he touches. So he sort of like turbocharges whatever sign of the zodiac he's working through. So that's why over the last year, we've all found that we've had a lot of busyness going on. And for a lot of people, there's been a lot more balls to juggle than balls, that you can possibly handle to juggle. And so what it's meant is lots of opportunities have been presented to you. But because everything's been moving so quickly, it's almost like act or react now or don't act or react at all. So once he moves out of out of Gemini and into Cancer, we're going to move out of that busy energy, but only for a very short time. Because what's going to happen in July is Uranus, one of the other major outer planets, is also changing signs, and he's moving out of Taurus and into Gemini. So we're going to get about a month's break from the crazy Gemini energy or the busy Gemini energy before it actually all starts off all over again. So welcome, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. And so it's going to be a big shift. So what we know with Jupiter, he's all about growth and expansion. But the beautiful thing about Jupiter is that he's very good at developing and expanding on the natural gifts that you carry. So the things that you don't even need to work on, they just suddenly come up and they come very easily to you, and they just are something naturally you can expand on or work upon. So while he's in Cancer, he's going to really amplify that and really encourage us all to be a lot more aligned with what we feel on the inside, with what we do on the outside. So if Jupiter's all about that growth and expansion, the other thing with Jupiter, because he's a big planet, wherever he's moving through and whatever he's doing, he brings everything to the surface to see the light of day. So usually, he is considered to be a very lucky, happy, benevolent planet. But if something in your life or something in the world needs to see the light of day so that it can be healed or sorted out or revealed in some way, he will bring it up. And so this is what we can really expect with this transit, and especially when the planet actually changes signs on the 10th of June, is there can be some big revelations come out at that time where things will be exposed. Because basically, we're sitting in a time where, as a lot of you are aware, so much has been hidden from so many of us, and some of it deliberately, and some of it not deliberately. We just haven't evolved that fast, that much to see those new things or to learn about those new things. So there's been new archaeological discoveries. There's been new, fish and things underneath the water have been discovered. Plus, we're discovering, all sorts of other things that have been going on in politics and around the world and all the rest of it. So it's a time of great revelations, the time of the great shift or the great reset, as we're calling it. So this movement of Jupiter into Cancer is particularly important because most of the outer planets at this time are sitting in fire energy or earth energy. So fire energy is the energy of action, and it's the energy of getting things done, leadership, standing on your own 2 feet. But it's all, fire energy can be very angry, it can be very aggressive, it can be very volatile, as well as giving us passion and motivation to get things done. So with all of that energy, with those planets sitting in the fire energy, then we've got the earth energy. So the earth energy is where people can get very stuck, where they like things to be done a certain way. They don't want that change. They want things to, be traditional, be conservative to some degree, but the way, things that we've done habitually for a long time are all coming up as well. So what we really need with Jupiter and Cancer is the water energy underneath to soften all of this. So that's why Jupiter and Cancer is going to be so important over the next year, is it's going to give us that ability to soften all of this anger or this volatility that we might be feeling. Because with the fire energy of Saturn and Neptune, we're really stepping into our spiritual warrior energy. So what we're getting the opportunity to do is to develop and create structure to all the dreams we've had, all the fantasies, all those things we've been wanting to get off the ground and wanting to turn into something. For the last sort of 15 years, they were just thoughts and ideas, and maybe you got some off the ground, maybe you didn't get some off the ground. But once Saturn is there creating that structure behind the scenes, this is when we really get to make something out of all the things we've been dabbling in for the last 15 years. And so Jupiter and Cancer behind this is asking us, yes, you've got to put yourself first. Yes, you've got to go after your dreams, but you've got to do it with compassion and understanding and care for everything else that's going on around you. Aries energy is the first sign of the zodiac. So everybody so this energy is going to be making everybody feel like it's all about me. I'm the most important person. My beliefs and my ideas are the only way to go. And of course, we can't think like that because we're all different. So with that beautiful Cancerian energy underneath, it brings out that mothering, that understanding, that deep compassion, so that we can, perhaps have people around us who are on a very different page to us, but we can show them compassion and understanding and acceptance. It's okay if they're on a different page. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't want to, be using all that Aryan energy to demand that people agree with you and demand that they follow you and only agree with what you have to say. That's not the right way of going about as we move forward into this age of Aquarius. So we've got Jupiter that's all about the growth and the expansion and the revelations. And then we've got Cancerian energy, which is very much about the home. It's about compassion. It's the mothering energy of the zodiac. And it's also about intuition and creativity. So one of the other important things that's going to happen with Jupiter and Cancer is we'll all feel a lot more connected to our inner world, to our intuition and what we feel to be true. And this is, I feel, going to be really important, because if we're all going to become sort of very Aryan energy with that I must come first and I must go after what I want. And that's a good way to be. But if you can do that with compassion and understanding, it'll be even better. So it's just about having that courage to do your own thing, but not trample women and children to do so, but just do it because it's the right thing to do, and bring in that loving energy behind it all. So your intuition will increase as well, which will make it a lot easier for you to feel your way through things. If something isn't right, it just won't feel right to you. And so because of that, you won't want to act on it. So it's going to work as sort of a bit of a gauge behind the scenes to make sure that you're not going too far to one extreme. Because as you can imagine, Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, it'll be extreme action at times, with that fire energy wanting its own way, wanting to burn through things and make them happen. Welcome, Rackwell. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're going to have this lovely, beautiful energy behind revealing things. And the other thing that Jupiter and Cancer is going to really do, it's going to really expand on our family connections. And your family doesn't necessarily have to be the family, your blood family. It's your tribe, the people you're closest to. So Jupiter and Cancer over the next year is going to allow you to really align yourself with the people who you consider to be family. And so this could be new people coming into your life, or it could be just the reestablishment of old connections, or it could be just the growth of the family or the tribe that you already have around you. But, with this tribal growth thing, it makes us a lot better at taking care of one another. And I think personally feel that's something really important moving forward, is that we all learn to take care of each other and to put our own needs first. With Cancer energy, Cancer being the mothering energy of the zodiac, one of the challenges for Cancerian energy is that it believes that everybody else's needs are more important than its own. So it's going to be very easy with Jupiter and Cancer to give your energy away. And that's a lovely thing to do and a lovely way to be, but you've got to make sure you give to yourself first. So that's where the good Aryan energy can come in and make us more focused on ourselves and looking after ourselves, rather than that Cancerian need to just give everything away, look after everybody else and ignore your own needs and your own self-care. And I feel that that's also something really important for us all to look at over the next year, is your practice of self-care. So a lot of people are very good at getting massages, getting their hair done, getting their nails done, whatever, and, having a nice drink or whatever, those nice things you do to take care of yourself. But the most important part of self-care is taking care of what's going on up here. Because if you think about some of the thoughts that go on in your head and some of the things you think about, you wouldn't dream of speaking to another person like that, but you think it's okay to talk to yourself like that and give yourself such a hard time, and it's not okay. And so that's going to be a big reminder to us moving forward as well of how, if you've got to give to yourself what you want from other people. You can't expect the world to love you and give you lots of love if you're not giving it out or you're not loving yourself. So we're going to start to realize the importance of self-belief and self-worth. They really are very important tools for us to develop at this time so that we can get through these very challenging times that are going to be so busy that if you're not taking care of yourself in the background, you're going to get overwhelmed and sort of run over basically very quickly. So, two things that are going to be very important this year are to find stillness and to spend time in nature. Because basically, your stillness is when you go within and when you just rely on you, the beautiful you that's on the inside. And of course, nature is real. It's not a fantasy. It's not, you can touch it, you can hold it, you can immerse yourself in it, and it's real and it grounds you and it makes you feel better about life and being a human being and all those things. So going out into nature will be really important for everybody as well, to just every time you feel overwhelmed or you think life is going too fast or you're losing your direction, you can come back to that energy of being out in nature or your own stillness in some way. So now, when Jupiter moves into a water sign, it means that it's going to be a lot of love and understanding to support all the changes that we're going to go through, because there's going to be a lot happening. The 2020s were always heralded to be the busiest decade of the century, just about. It's full on. And so we're halfway through it, and it's getting busier and busier and busier. I mean, I can't believe it's June. And I mean, just the other day, it seemed like it was January. It's just going so quickly. And so we've got to, when it's going quickly like this, we've got two choices. Either we run with it and exhaust ourselves, or we just find a flow that we can take that lets us get from A to B, but not with all the hurry and not with all the craziness. So once Jupiter moves into Cancer, we're going to have a lot of new opportunities for growth and change. And those opportunities often tend to come at the very beginning of the shift, at around about the 10th of June, when the shift happens. There's going to be a lot coming up, which I'm going to talk to you about in a moment, because from about the, where do I have it written down? From the 9th until the 20th of June, this big move of Jupiter is going to aspect a lot of other planets. So it's going to bring a lot of stuff, bang, 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 coming at us really big. And a lot of it will be revelations. Like I said before, things have got to be revealed under this energy. They can't be hidden away anymore. And so, when we look at things that can be revealed, some of those will be educational, some of them will be fun, some of them will be interesting, and some of them will be terrifying. And so we've got to be aware of not overreacting to all of those things that come out. Because, when we hear things that we don't want to hear or that we didn't expect to hear, it shakes us up a little bit. But we've got to understand that this is what's meant to happen. As ugly and horrible, as awful as some of it may seem, unfortunately, this is what needs to happen. And just also being aware that if you're alive at this time on the earth plane, then you chose to be here at this time. So you've chosen to play a role in what's going on. And so when we look at some of the horrific things going on around the world at the moment, and the innocent people dying, those people are innocent, but they chose before they were born for this to happen. They chose to play that role in the Great Reset. And we're all playing our own roles in some way. And so when we can find that stillness and when we can find peace within ourselves, it creates an energy. And energy is what makes the world go round. And so the more of us that can sit in a peaceful energy, the more that energy can affect the whole planet. Instead of getting all caught up in all the craziness and all the overwhelm and all the other things going on, find your happy, quiet space. So another thing, like I said, the tribe and family is going to become a lot more important over the next year. So this could mean there could be a lot of healing within families at this time over the next year or so. So if there's any rifts in your family, this could be a good time to bring that back together or to sort that out in some way. But if those things aren't meant to be healed, if those rifts are meant to be that you're actually not meant to have that person in your life anymore, then that will stay the same as well. So just be aware of what's going on and don't try and force anything that doesn't feel right for you. Sometimes when there's rifts in the family, somebody said to me the other day, sometimes rejection is protection. And that's often what it is. There's a reason why you're not around that person anymore. No matter how related to them you are, you've learned what you need to learn from them, so it's time to move on. So that is families, but also because Cancer rules the home, it's your home and your house that could also be under construction or expansion this year. So a great time for people to renovate their houses or update your house or decorate it, redecorate it in some way. Because when Jupiter's expanding on Cancer, it's expanding on that home energy, and we're all going to want our home to be our place of refuge, a place where we can regenerate ourselves, where we can relax, where we can rejuvenate, we can do all of those things. So the home has to become a very important place for you over the next year, where you know you're going to get that peace and you know you're going to be able to do all those things for your body and for yourself that you really need to feel healthy and happy and supported in every way from the home. So, if there's people you're living with now that don't make you feel supported or make your home feel uncomfortable or toxic in any way, move. It's not where you're meant to be. Or get them to move, whatever's easiest. We've got to really look after our own space and our own comfort over this next year. So there's going to be a lot of growth for humanity. What I'm really hoping with this energy is that it will make people more inspired to take care of one another and more inspired to look after each other and what's going on in your neighborhood or in your community. And the other thing with it, there's that need for that rejuvenation. And because within the home, if your home isn't the place where you feel you can have all that relaxation and have all that rejuvenation, you might actually want to change house during this year as well. That would be quite a common thing for a lot of people to do. If you're feeling that you're not comfortable where you're living, or you could be more comfortable living somewhere else, and whether that's a different house or a different country, it doesn't matter. There could be a major change there for a lot of people if you're not feeling that what you're getting from your home now is everything that you need. So don't be afraid if you suddenly feel uncomfortable in your home where you felt comfortable for ages. It probably is time for you to move on and try somewhere else. And because Cancerian energy is also highly intuitive, we're also going to be encouraged over this next year to rely a lot more on what you feel to be true. Not what other people tell you, not the boxes you're supposed to tick, but what you feel. We're really coming back to our sovereignty, which is the whole Aquarian, age of Aquarius energy, is that, we're all human beings born with our own ability to think and to create. And for a long, long time, we've given that energy away. We've allowed other people to make those decisions for us, and some really big decisions. And for some people, that's felt okay. And for a lot of people, that did not feel right at all. And it's because those people that really felt wrong about being directed to do things they didn't feel, whatever that might have been in your life, it's because you've got this strong sense of sovereignty within you, and your soul knows you're meant to be thinking for yourself. We're not sheep. We're not here to just do what everybody else does. We're capable of thinking for ourselves, and we all do it. But we've become very lazy while we've been in all of that illusionary energy of water over the last sort of 15 or more years. It's made us quite lazy in our thinking, where we want to have a little think about something or a little dabble with something or a little fantasy about something, but we haven't committed. And so once we move into this Jupiter and Cancer, it's like, okay, you've got these feelings, you've got this intuition, you've got all this stuff in a voice telling you things. Now is the time to listen to it, and not only listen to it, but develop it as much as you can. Because if you can't rely on you, who can you rely on? You've got to come back to yourself. You're the number one person in this world. And in some trains of spiritual thought, there is nobody else here. It's only you. And this is all a mirage or something we're inventing, or our own play in our own head. There's all sorts of different ways of looking at it. So this is why time and time again, it has to come back to you taking care of you and you putting yourself first, and for the highest good of all concerned as well. So when we go through this Jupiter and Cancer, I feel it's a great opportunity for self-healing. And the way to do self-healing is you've got to work on your beliefs and your sense of self-worth. You've got to actually think that you're worthwhile and you're worth the effort, or else you won't do it. So it's time for us all to put a lot more value on ourselves as well. So those are, there's a lot of positive things that are going to happen to you. And, we're really going to be looking at what nurtures you, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel all soft and yummy and supported and looked after and nurtured in some way. What things in your life do that for you, and create more of those, but not only for yourself, but if those sorts of things feel good for you to do for you, then do them for other people within your tribe, within your family, and really start spreading out that energy of nurturing one another. Because the way you treat another person should be the way you're treated back. So if we put out good stuff, we should get good stuff back. So that would be a good use of that energy as well. Um, and we're also looking at, and I've talked about this before, very much with the Saturn and Neptune and Aries energy, is the alignment of what's important for you inside of you, and how do your actions portray that? Or are you holding your dreams inside of you and not doing anything with them? Because this is the time to make our dreams a reality. And that's really important, is that, we've been dreaming for the last God knows how many years. And now we've got the Saturn and Aries energy that just says, do it, get on with it and do it. Create the structure, create the plan, take your dream and make it a reality. But we've got to remember that we've got to put in the work. We can't just sit there and go, I want this, manifest for me. You've got to put the work in for yourself. You've got to do something. Because, the spirit and the universe is sitting there looking at you going, okay, well, we're here. We're ready and willing to help you. But you've got to tell us what you want. And if you want this and you want this and you want this, it's really confusing. They don't know where to put their energy for you. So focus on what you want. Prioritize what your needs and wants are. And then spirit have got something to work with. And they can really help and cooperate and, co-create with you during this time. So of course, there's all the positives of that lovely family energy, the love energy, the compassion, all those beautiful things that go with Cancer. But then we've got to look at the challenges that go with it as well. And of course, because, excuse me, if Jupiter's expanding on everything he touches, he'll expand on the negative and the positive. So some of the challenges of this energy, Cancerian energy, can be very emotional. So it could be a time over the next 12 months where you're going to feel a lot more emotional than you usually do. And it can also be very, very protective, very possessive, and very controlling. So those are things that could really expand. And this is where to be aware, in our efforts, and as those of you who are mums would know this, in your efforts to be a good mum, you often overprotect your children. We do too much for them. We protect them from things. We wrap them up in bubble wrap to keep them safe. And that's the kind of feeling you might have going forward and over this next year, is that you want to protect and possess all the people you love the most. And of course, nobody really wants to be overly protected, and certainly nobody wants to be controlled or possessed by another person. So you're going to have to just be aware of how your efforts come across to other people. Your intention of loving and keeping a person safe is how you're feeling. They're receiving it as you're trying to tell me what to do and you're controlling me, and it's not going to go down well. So just be aware of allowing people to make their own mistakes and do their own things, and just letting them know that you're there to pick them up, to support them, whatever they choose, but that you're not going to, get in the way and control their life for them. And the other thing with Cancerian energy, it can be very, very focused on the past. So another thing we've got to really be aware of is looking to the future and not constantly looking back and going, oh, that happened last time, it's bound to happen again. You want to look at where you're going and what you've got rather than what you've lost or what you think you don't have anymore. If we keep focusing on what's gone before, we're not going anywhere. We're just staying in the same spot. We've got to start looking more to the future. And one of the other challenges is codependency and enabling under that Cancerian energy, and that efforts to make everybody feel good and everyone feel safe. Well, okay, yes, you probably shouldn't have another drink, but if that's going to make you feel better, have another drink. And, just doing things that you think you're being nice and helpful and kind and loving, but actually you're probably, enabling a person to continue a bad habit or to continue a behavior that isn't in their best interests, whatever that might be. So, so we're going to have an opportunity to become a lot more focused on what's really, really important to you and what you'd like to get off the ground. So I'm just going to go through and ask you all now. So Shelley, you're at the top of the screen. What would be something really important you'd like to get off the ground over this next year? And it doesn't have to be a big thing, just something that's important to you inside.
Sure. I have a sleep out that's used as a storage space at the moment.
Yeah.
But there's also a garage which could be used as a storage space. So the sleep out could be used as a room that I could deliver the services that I want to deliver. And so
Correct.
I've kind of made a couple of little steps towards that. And so hearing you talk about the home thing, it's like, oh
Yes.
yeah, okay,
Perfect.
that's what that's about. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you're already feeling it. So, as the planets move towards changing signs, often you can feel the change coming before it actually gets here. So that'll
Yeah.
be great. That's perfect for that energy. And what about you, Vivian?
For me, it's the AI, the knowledge,
Uh-huh.
the recent technology knowledge, and like contributing to the project that I'm working on
Yeah.
with the other team. Yeah, and also still hoping that like on the home front that Mark will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think over this year, I think by the end of this year of Jupiter and Cancer, next July, I think you should have a lot more clarity, particularly with the home stuff. Because I sort of feel
Oh,
that the Jupiter and Cancer is the perfect opportunity for your home to become the home you want it to be. So if it doesn't happen during this next year, then that could be a good sign that it's probably not going to happen at all.
Mm.
Mm. Okay.
And
And what,
yeah,
yeah. Okay.
thanks.
Jazz?
Cedric, I guess big thing for me is growing my business as a
Right.
coach, and interesting you said about the need to seek stillness and peace. As a yin yoga teacher, it's really, I've been thinking about growing that and offering more online options for that, so people can join from their home,
Yeah.
a place where they feel safe, secure. And so just as you were talking, I thought, oh, that's probably what I want to do, and a little bit more of. And
Yeah.
I have opened my home up now to have coaching clients come here, and even some of my yoga students come to my home as well. So it's going a little bit like you were saying, Shelley. It's like you've got the space now, and it's like, okay, the door is open. Um,
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a big thing for me.
Good. And I think that could be a really great niche market for you to maybe really hone in on people who do have issues with exercising in public.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who won't go to the gym or won't go to a class because they think they're too overweight or they're too clumsy or whatever it might be, but they still want to do it and participate.
And I'm going to say this, one of the things a lot of people don't come to yoga for is they're scared they'll fart or they'll fall asleep and they'll snore. And so they're like really conscious of making sounds with their body making sounds. So, you do it from your own home. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that might be a little something that I market, that, hey, if you're worried about this,
Yeah.
try online yoga at home.
And you could be quite open about it too, because of it, people will be aware of that, if they tick that box or not. Great,
Yeah,
Jess. And so you also
thanks.
using your home, so that's great. Good.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
about you, Lucy?
Right. For me, I think it will be that finishing renovations that we've been working on like for the past 10 years. So, like for the next year, it's just a few bedrooms left in the bathroom. So the big jobs like kitchen and the outside, that's all done. Windows replacing. So, it seems like we're nearly there. So yeah, hopefully.
Good. Yeah, so you'll have
hopefully.
lots of energy to do that with Jupiter and Cancer. That the more you work on the home, the more it feels right.
Yeah, well, hopefully. My husband is the one that like does most of it, and I help him. So
Oh, okay.
it's really up to him at the end, but I'm trying to push him into it.
Yeah, well, I think he should feel the energy as well, and want to do it. It should be quite a natural thing for people to want to do.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thanks.
And what about you, Michelle?
Hi, yeah, my studio has just been finished, and so my art has been on a bit of a sort of a hiatus, and yeah, I think I'm hoping that it's going to. I definitely feel the push that I want to start doing my art again
Good.
on a big scale again. So I'm hoping that that's gonna push forward more, because
Yeah,
it
good.
always had this. It's always kind of felt very blocked. And when you were saying for 15 years, that sounds
Yeah.
it's like really weird, but that is exactly how I felt in the last 15 years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And I think, for you, it feels more like you've been too focused on the practical things in life, and you felt that they need more of your attention and more of your energy. And now you're realizing that you've neglected parts of you that you really enjoy. And so it's time to expand on that again. So
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
it feels like a good time for you to get back into it.
yeah, it definitely, everything's kind of pushing me into that. So, yeah,
Good.
thank
Great.
you.
Okay. And what about you, Raquel?
Yes, I just moved to Bali from Singapore after living in Singapore for 19 years. So now I've been in Bali since a year, and I've always been teaching and pranayama, breath work, and meditation.
Mhm.
with the Art through Art of Living Foundation, and even if it's a volunteer work, I realized I found out in Bali that you need to have a working permit. You cannot just teach yoga or meditation or breath work, and um, so you have to have a permit, which made it very difficult for me to go in a big way. And yeah, and I'm also building a house, so I cannot even offer to teach courses in my own house because it's just being built.
Yeah.
So there's just this thing in my head, and I'm going like crazy. Like I've been 1 year here and I haven't started really teaching properly. It's usually just one-on-one, and that's not enough
Yeah.
for my, yeah. It's the, I know that it's my purpose, because I've been feeling a lot of um joy doing it as a
Yeah.
volunteer, and I can't do it here.
Yeah.
So that's
Why did you move to
something that
Bali?
because why I moved to Bali. More, not really retirement, but it's more like to settle somewhere and
Okay.
build something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because my feeling is that you're on the right track. What you're doing is what you're meant to be doing, but I'm just not sure you're in the right place.
Oh, okay.
It almost feels like you've arrived in Bali with all this stuff to offer, and Bali's not meeting you.
Not yet, because I haven't I mean, yes, I can say not yet because um I'm just slowly realizing that, oh, I cannot just teach like that. I have to be careful, because I need a working permit. And I spoke to the foundation I work together with, and they said that they will. My friend, who is the one handling Indonesia, said that he will look into it, and he doesn't think it's a problem and all that. So I with my positive mindset, I'm thinking that maybe it will just take a couple of weeks, or so, I don't know. I mean, I'm adjusting because coming from Singapore, Bali is really like a totally different place.
Yes. Very
And
different.
I've been following your Instagram, Deirdre. I heard about you from Sita Binwani
Oh,
in
nice.
Singapore. Yes, and you said Bali is a divine energy and blah
It
blah blah.
is. It's
I was
beautiful.
thinking, why? So I was thinking like, okay, I still have to figure that out. What makes
Uh,
Bali a divine place?
Yeah, I know. I think Bali's a beautiful place, but I do sort of feel at the moment Bali's a little bit oversaturated, perhaps, with people offering a lot, going there to offer a lot.
That's what I see. Like a lot of people are offering all this breath work, sound therapy, and all that, but it's doesn't. It's very superficial.
Yes.
There's no, I've
Yes.
not seen any authentic one. So I think there is a market, or there's a group, that there are people looking for something
Mm.
authentic. They
Yeah.
must be looking for something, but it's what's being offered is all commercial and superficial. So I thought,
Mm.
you know, it would be
Yeah.
good.
So I would say give it a bit more time, because now that Jupiter's in Cancer, it's going to help you to look after yourself better so you can attract more to you.
Mm.
But is it difficult to get the work permit?
Um, I think it's not, it's, well, I only spoke to one agency, and he said it costs about 2,000, it's about $2,600 per year.
Hmm.
Uh, the company can, a company can do that, but I mean, so my foundation might be able to do it, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's just more of, that's the cost. Can you bring the money in through the courses?
Yeah.
Yes, but there are still other stuff that you need to consider, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So just keep working on. I feel that you just need to keep working on it, and the right thing will fall into place at the right time. Good luck
Okay.
with that.
Yeah, maybe I can see you, Deirdre, when you come here to Bali for a consultation.
Yeah, I had actually ended up having to cancel my trip to Bali. I should have been leaving today, I think, to go to Bali, but
Oh,
I had a course, a retreat all set up, but then a couple of people cancelled at the last minute, and I couldn't fill their spaces, and so I had to cancel the whole thing, unfortunately. But I am going to be in Singapore in July. If you're back in Singapore by then, I'll be there.
oh, Oh, okay.
I'll be out of on my socials anyway. Okay, so we've got this big shift of Jupiter into Cancer. And so around the shift, there's going to be some pretty major aspects forming. So aspects in astrology are the relationships between two planets that planets have with one another. And there's really harmonious relationships they can have when they work well together and they support one another. And then there's ones where they really challenge one another in some way. So the first one Jupiter moves into Cancer on the 10th of June, but on the 8th of June, it will form in conjunction with Mercury at the final degree. So Gemini will be in the final degrees of, Jupiter will be in the final degrees of Gemini, and so will Mercury. So they're both at 29 degrees. So when planets are at that very fine degree of 29 degrees or 0 degrees, they're very, very powerful. So Jupiter's Jupiter's all about growth and expansion. When he's in Gemini, it's the revelations, it's the curiosity, it's the communication. And then Mercury's all about talking and making things happen and bringing things to the surface. So what we can really, I think on the 8th of June, watch this space or watch any space for what's going to come out then. That could be a real time of revelation. So that could be, something big coming out, being exposed globally, but it could also be something being exposed in your own life. So wherever the Gemini energy sits in your chart will be where something could be exposed for you. And it could be that you suddenly realize that you've been missing something in your life, that, you suddenly realize that you're really good at something you didn't realize you were good at before, or something in your life makes you really happy and you need to do more of that. Or it could be you realize that you've been practicing something or hanging on to something way past its use by date, and then that needs to change or go in some way. But it's like they're going to be truth bombs basically going off around the world on the 8th of June, personally within our personal lives and globally. It could be that you're confronted with something, some piece of information from a family member, from a partner, or from the politician or whatever. Again, a revelation, a truth bomb that you had no idea was out there, or maybe you suspected was out there, but the confirmation of that's going to come at that time. So, Jupiter's all about exposure, and Mercury's all about communication and information. And, the Gemini energy is the curiosity. So something's that's been hidden or is going to be revealed in some way at that time. So that's a big one to look out for then. Because basically, for the world to be fixed and for things to work properly, it's almost like we've got to go down to ground zero to start again, really. We've got to start with a clean slate. We can't keep trying to fix what's already broken. So once these revelations come out and things start being revealed, whatever else is going on within that area will also start to flow and come out too, because it's almost like, opening up a can of worms, or no, not a can of worms, opening up yes, it's a bucket of water and a bottle of water and turning it upside down. It all has to drain out. Nothing's going to be left. So it's not like we're going to get little sips of it. It's all going to come out. So it's also going to be a really good time, because Jupiter's all about growth and Mercury loves to take action. The 8th of June would be a really good time for you to start getting your dreams off the ground. So to take action on something you want to get happening, and especially anything that you've been particularly working on over the last year, because we're taking all of that final energy of Gemini, all those opportunities, all those different ways of looking at things, all of those, things that have been revealed to you, and taking some of those and turning them into something that you want to move forward with, that's important to you. But because after that, between the 9th of June and the 20th of June, there's going to be a whole lot of squares being formed. And squares are very difficult astrological aspects. And so the first one that's going to happen, so a square is when two planets are three signs of the zodiac apart from one another. So when we talk about squares, what we sort of see there is what they're showing you is there's two very, very different ways you can go about achieving the same goal. And usually what happens is you're very comfortable with the way you've always done it, and you know it inside out, and it's your comfort zone, and it's always worked for you that way. And all of a sudden that way may not work anymore. But there's another way over here that's going to work just as well if you're prepared to change, and if you're prepared to stop doing things the way you've always done them. And we get so stuck in our ways, and even if they're good ways, even if it's something that's worked and it's been 100% successful for you for years, it still needs to change. We can't stay the same. Life is constantly evolving, and we've got to evolve with it. So the first big square that's going to come up is on on the 15th of June between Jupiter and Saturn. So Jupiter will be in Cancer and Saturn will be in Aries, and that is what we call get real time. That's when things are going to be you're going to become very aware of what is not working in your life and why. And when I say not working, it's like you say your business is just not flowing the way you would like it to. And what's going to be very obvious to you when Saturn hits that Saturn and Jupiter hit each other like that is that there's got to be structure. You can't just expect things to work because you want them to. And we also can't expect things to work because they've always worked that way before. Everything is changing. And so we've got to be able to change as well. If you just keep sitting there going, well, that's not fair, it always used to work like that before, or I'll just give it a week or two and then it'll go back to the way it usually was, it won't. You've got to find a new way of restructuring your business. This is just an example of a business, but of restructuring something so that there's a serious plan there. You've got to discipline yourself to do the work. Because if you want anything in life to succeed, first of all, you've got to love it. And the second of all, you've got to work at it. It's like, so many people, I think, get into marriages and relationships, especially when we're younger, and we think all we need is love. We love each other. That's all we need. And we don't realize that you've actually got to work at these things too. You've got to get along. You've got to find ways to, to solve your problems, to get past your speed bumps. You can't just expect everything to fall into place. And I think we've become very complacent like that with this whole watery energy we've been over us for so long. We've been just used to things just happening eventually or going with the flow. And we haven't done as much work as we should have done. And so it's a real wake-up call to do the work and to be very aware of you've got to work on your self-belief. Because if you don't believe you can succeed at something, if you don't believe you're good at something, then you're not. And that's all there is to it. And you won't attract the right people. You won't attract the help you need. You won't attract the money you need because you don't believe in you. So what's going to be really important is that alignment, you believing on the inside of what you can achieve on the outside. So a lot of us, for instance, have lots of dreams. I'd love to, I'd love to be an actor. So I'd love to be an actor. I'd love to be on stage acting. And, inside of you, you think about it and you think, oh, that would be fun. That would be good. But you don't do anything about it. You don't, do some acting training. You don't, go for what do they call it? Not an interview. Or whatever you do when you go for a role in something, you've got to take some action too. You can't just expect things to happen. And again, you've got this fantasy of being an actor and being on the stage and being famous, but you might be terrified of being in the public eye. And so you spend all this time thinking and fantasizing about this thing, but you're never going to put it into action. So it's a waste of your time and energy. So, either suck it up, do the work and face that fear and get up on that stage, or change your direction and change what you want to go after. It's got to be aligned inside and outside. And that's what the Saturn is going to make us very aware of, where we've got shortfallings or where we're just being fantasy driven and where we actually lack any real discipline to get things done. And the next big square that's going to come on the 18th of June will be between Jupiter in Cancer and Neptune in Aries. So Neptune's the planet of illusion and imagination and deception and betrayal. So wherever he's sitting, wherever he's involved, we often can't see the woods for the trees. We just can't see what's real and what's not. So this is going to really ask you, this particular square is, where are you stuck? Where do you keep doing things the same way you've always done them and getting the same result, or getting a worse result because you've been doing it for so long? And, it's really going to make you very aware of how stuck you might be in your comfort zone. Because we all love the comfort zone. When we feel comfortable, where things are flowing, it's all very nice and wonderful. But, we don't grow in the comfort zone. And so, I sort of, we have the Uranus, the planet of change, and he changes signs every 7 years. So to me, he's the 7-year itch planet. We all have a 7-year itch or shorter itch that needs to be scratched. And so you're going to become very aware around about the 18th of where you are very comfortable to be, but actually it doesn't work for you to be there. There's no growth there for you anymore because you've done it for too long. And hang on. Oh, yeah. So, we're also being asked to, when you're going to make your dreams a reality, you have to really, really know what you want to go after. You can't just have this sort of harebrained scheme. And so we've got to start creating more structure. So we've had all these fantasies and stuff going on with Neptune in Pisces for the last 15 years. It's all been about the illusion. And now that he's in Aries, he's sort of saying to you, okay, you've been dreaming this for so long. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to make it real and get it out of your head, out of your fantasy world, out of your comfort zone, and actually turn it into something that you can use and move forward with in some way? So, you have to face what you fear, what's stopping you from stepping into that. So for some people, they believe they can't afford to do what they want to do. Some people don't have the courage to do what they want to do. Some people don't think they're clever enough to do what they want to do. So all of this is just in your imagination. Yes, money's an issue with things, but this is where, you've got to be so aware with astrology, and with anything, you choose your life before you're born. So every time in your life where you go to make a big step to change something or do something new, you've put people in place already that are going to help you with that. So look at who's around you at any given time that can help you to achieve your dreams or help you to take the next step or help you to focus a bit more. Whatever you need, they're already there around you. But the thing is, we get a bit scared to ask. And we also, we also believe that we have to fix everything ourselves, especially as women. We believe that we've got to do it all by ourselves, but we're allowed to ask for help. That's why people are there. And that's why people at the same time will be asking you for help and you for support, because they need you to do whatever they need to do next, because that's what they chose before they were born. So just be very aware of who's around you with what you need to, what you want and need to get done. And so that the squares are really keeping us in check and making sure that before we take a big step forward, we've looked at all the different ways we can do so. So that you're not going to, because we've got all this need for action that's going to be coming stronger and stronger especially once Jupiter moves over these next few months. Everyone's going to feel like it's time now. I've got to take some action and do something, which you do. But, you've got to have structure there and you've got to have a plan. So don't be afraid to go slow, because that's the thing with Saturn and Aries and one of the big, Saturn's the big sort of teacher and the disciplinarian person amongst all of this. So whatever we're doing, it's got to have Saturn's approval. And three things that Saturn absolutely love are hard work, discipline, and focus. So you give those to Saturn, you show him, I'm prepared to do the work to get my dream off the ground. I'm prepared to do the work to move to that next country or have that new home. I'm prepared to do whatever it takes. Saturn will go, excellent. Well, here's all your reward for it then. You take one step, I'll give you another 2 steps. But if you sit back going, oh, it's too hard, maybe next year, or maybe I'll do it another time, it's not going to happen at all for you. So it's a bit of a make and break time coming up where, if you've got something you want to make real, now is the time to do it. Don't dilly-dally around any longer. Make it real. So the other thing I just asked, I'm running a masterclass on this on Saturday, but it'll be the personal one where we're going to look at each of your astrology and see exactly where Jupiter and Cancer will affect you in your chart and what you can do with that energy over the next year. But just to be aware before that is that it's the cardinal signs of the zodiac that are going to feel this shift the most. So the cardinal signs of the zodiac are Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra. So if you're one of those signs of the zodiac, you're going to feel these shifts the most, or feel the shift and actually have the most ability to take advantage of the shift as well. So so keep that in mind as well. And also be aware that the last time Jupiter was in Cancer was, hang on, where did I write that down? Oh, between the 27th of June 2013 and the 16th of July 2014. So that's something to go away and have a little think about. And if you want to come and do the class on Saturday, well, I'll explain it to you in detail. But just to be aware with what you've been talking, what we've talked about today, whether any of those things that you're wanting to get off the ground or those feelings you're having or the ambitions you've got at the time were similar to what you were doing in 2013 to 2014, and looking to see how it worked out for you then. What got in the way, what was successful, who helped you, where were you, and just have a look to see, okay, it's like doing a bit of sort of research if you've got an exam to come up and looking back at, what you've done, what you've learned in the past that you can now learn it in the exam now. So having a look to see what comes next. And before that, if you want to go even further back to give even further, it was the 13th of July 2001 until the 1st of August 2002. So yeah, just if you've got keep diaries or stuff, it's usually helpful. Or even if your work calendar or something like that might be able to show you some information. But yeah, have a look, and that's what you did with the Jupiter and Cancer energy the last 2 times. So can you do it better this time, or can you do it worse, or can you develop yourself further? But I think when I look back at myself at those times, 2001, I was starting a new life in a new town. 2013, I was doing the same thing. And both times, that's the mothering energy. And my children were very young, and I was, looking after them a lot. So with that Cancerian energy, I was giving a lot of my energy away to my children, of course, because they were young and needed it. But so now I'm going into this next Jupiter in Cancer. I don't have any children to look after anymore, and neither of them have blessed me with grandchildren either, so I can't look after them either. So it's going to be, for me, it's interesting what's going to come up. It's obviously not going to be about mothering and children. It'll be about mothering and caring for something else in my life that's not my children. So maybe I'll get a dog or something, who knows, but something's going to change in some way. So just being aware, what went on for you then, and what can you do with the energy this time to make it better, or to learn from those. Not necessarily, you might have made mistakes back then, or you might have had successes back then, but you learn from everything you do. So have a look back to, if you can remember back to then, and just see what you can compare and what you can do with this energy moving forward. So has anybody got any questions, anything they'd like me to ask, like to ask me about? No, you're good? Oh, you do, Shelley. Okay.
I do. Sorry, I was looking for my audio. You said before that something was going into Gemini.
Uranus is going into Gemini on the, when does that happen? On the 8th of July.
And you said something about whatever was going on with Gemini in your chart.
Yeah.
And one thing I don't understand, when you say in your chart, do you mean your natal chart?
Yes. Yes.
So whenever you say in your chart,
Yeah.
you're talking about natal chart.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep, great, thank you.
Good. And you know your chart, so you can look at your transits and see what's going on for you. Yeah, good.
Okay, thanks.
Has anybody else got a question they'd like to ask? No, you're all good? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. And the video of this will be available in about an hour when it drops down, and I will put it up on my Facebook page and up on my YouTube channel if you want to rewatch it or download it for future reference in any way. And I'd love to see you on Saturday if you'd like to join for that masterclass. It starts at 9 a.m. Saturday morning New Zealand time, and it will go on for about 2 hours. And I'll need you need to register for this one and pay for this one. It's just $33 per person, New Zealand dollars. You need to register for it because I'll need your astrology details to be able to tell you exactly what's going on for you. I'll prepare all that in advance. So I need to hear from you by 5 o'clock on Friday if you'd like to do it on Saturday. Okay, well, thank you all for being here, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Stay